It's Easter Saturday, the last Saturday of March, and those of you not living in the UK might not be aware, we've been trapped with a horrible east wind, a really bitterly, bitingly cold east wind for the last couple of weeks. Temperatures are far lower than they are normally. I've actually booked a holiday in a fishing caravan in North Wales, which was due to start today, although we weren't planning to go until after Easter. We may not even go, it's that cold. Just a little walk around, show you some of what's going on, a little bit of an update. This is a cider apple tree variety, Somerset Red Streak, that I grafted a little while back. You can see a double cleft graft. There are the pencils that went in, and there's the wood that grew away. As a matter of fact, this is a year's growth, as you can see. Fantastic, that's grown away in a year. Double cleft, saddle, double cleft, double cleft, double cleft. Fantastic growth. I need to thin that out a little bit. Yeah, this is a section of the orchard where we have taken out half of the trees and grafted over. These were Bramleys, they're grafted over the cider. I've not mentioned this before. These are all saddle grafts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 years old. These are now well feathered. See, there's the union, the growth scar. That's the 2012 wood, and that's 2011 wood, and that's the pencil it grew away from. So good 100% success on that tree. That's a Broxwood Foxwhelp, another bitter sharp cider apple, and that's standing my height high, 6 foot high. That's standing 8.5 foot tall. Here's another very similar tree. It's grafted in the same way. It's got some fruit bud on it. Yeah, and this is an orchard where we're making some changes. This tree, I forget the variety of it, but in a previous orchard walk, I just made a few savage cuts there to indicate this was to be removed and cut up. I'll do that job today, actually. This tree, you see there was a row down here of various odds and ends. These are coming out, but this particular one, it's not really in the way. Here's another cider, there's another Bramley that was, again, sawn down hard, allowed to send some shoots up, saddle grafted onto them, growing away nicely. This is a good old Dabinet, and that's standing tall. So this orchard is being, alternate rows of trees have been cut out, and Bramley has been grafted over the cider. So this is a work in progress. And here are the oldest trees in the orchard. Some old cider apples, which incidentally came from Scott's Nurseries, which tragically closed down 2 years ago. This, I think, is Devonshire Quarrenden. We decided we're going to remove this eventually, but we decided we'd let it crop this year. Here's the new cider apple tree planted from the excellent Ashridge trees. They often have varieties I find that nobody else has got. And this is a well-known cider apple called Major. And this is a well-feathered maiden. This is planted this winter. As you can see, that's a really first-class tree. I've cut back 1 or 2 thicker branches. I've mainly left them around there. I haven't decided what the eventual shape of this tree will be. I might grow it as a pyramid. I probably will grow it as a half standard. But for the time being, I'm leaving these on. It mentions this in the R.R. Williams book on growing cider apple trees. It is a big mistake to cut out all of these little laterals. This is what I call a maiden. Let's say it's a 1-year-old tree, and it's a well-feathered maiden. These are the feathers. Nice symmetrical shape. I don't know if you can see. These are necessary for growth, even if we don't retain them. I mean, in time, these will probably be cut out. Probably retain these, and maybe some that will come away from above there. But actually, the top of that's a little bit manky there, which is not a big surprise. Just give that a little snip. That'll do. Yeah, anyway, so again, there was a row of Egremont russets here. They were taken out, which hurt me because they were such beautiful trees, but they were too close. There wasn't enough room. And in a few years' time, you may even see that that's even more obviously true than it is now. Here's a row of Ribston Pippin. We are chasing ourselves. We are running out of time because of so many things to do. What I've done here, I've taken a few big saw cuts to open out the centre of the tree, and I've largely left it, apart from that very, very heavy number of fruit buds. We can let this tree grow. Again, there was a row of Ribston pippin here, which I took out. So these Ribstons here are now being given much more space, and they're going to love it. I'm going to let these grow really wide. This is interesting. This is another tree that, for whatever reason, wasn't successful. You can see there's a substantial stump down there. I can't even remember what the history of this tree. We sawed it down, and this growth has come up from below. So this is a Mallingburton 106, and that's growing as a very nice 2-year-old, like a 2-year-old shoot. In fact, did that all grow in 1 year or two? I think it doesn't really matter, but that's a really nice, healthy looking, and that's going to be grafted over to a heritage apple variety. I can't remember exactly which one. There's a saying in the book of Proverbs in the Bible, and even if you're not a Bible believer, you should read the book of Proverbs, if only because it contains tried and tested ancient wisdom which the Hebrew people have used to keep their culture and civilization intact over millennia. I'm not going to get into any arguments about that beyond what I've just said. You should read the book of Proverbs, and in it there's a proverb which says, "The sluggard will not plough in winter for reason of the cold, therefore at harvest shall he beg and have nothing." Although nowadays he'd be given a generous wad of entitlement spending money. But that's another story again. But it's cold today, but since we started working we're feeling a bit warmer. So how's things going?
Steve.
Hey?
Are you ranting?
Oh, I'm starting to rant, yeah. Why not?
Just a bit late winter pruning.
Right. Yeah, good. Now, which variety is this? Is it King of the Pippins?
Flame orange.
Right. Where is that next tree, the Corpensia plat?
Yeah.
That's just a slight grower, isn't it?
Right.
We're going to...
What's a nice heavy clay?
yeah. It's a naturally very small tree, the Corpensia plat. It's a slow grower. We sent some wood out. We didn't have hardly any. I think we sent only 1 or 2 slips. You can see how tiny, what tiny growth it made last year. Absolutely titchy. So how much did you manage to save?
I've got
salvage?
3 tiny little slips, but as you can see, the new growth is very thin. It's got all congested up with spurs, so I've taken off a lot of the spurs, and we must take fruit off it this year, give it a good load of manure.
You know, I'd be inclined to saw that harder.
I did wonder, but I was a bit cautious.
I would.
Yeah. Shall I give you the saw and you can do it now?
If you take the film, I'll take the action.
Yeah.
It's because this tree is genetically of the most extreme importance. In the signwood send out that we just did, a lot of people requested this and I couldn't send them any. So what I'm going to do here, let me just stop and think for a minute. But yeah,
because this tree's been in
harsh.
This tree's been in about 18 years, hasn't it?
Harsh. The purpose of this is to stimulate new growth. Purpose is to stimulate new growth so that we will have some more wood. I don't care whether we get, I don't care what weight of apples we get off of this year. I'm uninterested in what apples we get from it this year. I'm interested in preserving the genetic heritage of it, so I've just taken some hard cuts there, and that should stimulate this to make some more growth. So next year we shall have some pencils of wood that we can send out to propagate this extremely old and genetically very significant apple called Corpensia plat. Anyway, yeah, this is our Bunyards section of the orchard. This is the first section of the orchard. This is where we made the largest number of mistakes, and we've been correcting them. For example, you might have noticed these stumps. These are, we planted 4 rows, 40 trees altogether of a variety called Fiesta, which was renamed Red Pippin. It's interesting, we got government advice. We took advice from the ADAS, whatever the government, it's now called DEFRA. They advised us to plant this variety. Worst choice we made, worst tree we planted. It's a heavy cropper. It's very susceptible to scab. The flavour's not that great, and it's gone right out of fashion, and we can't sell them. And it makes rotten cider as well. So that's what you get for taking government advice. This is, I just finished this film here, otherwise it'll get a bit too long. You might be interested in this manoeuvre. This obviously is a bit of parachute cord, and that's a bit of jute string, which is irrelevant. Could be any old string. This is just what I happen to have. You can see here I made a big cut here. I think it was due to canker and overcrowding. Anyway, I made a really big cut, appropriately based on a tree by tree decision making process. Big cut there, and left the big space. So there was this water shoot growing up on this side of the tree, so I carefully bent it over and tied it down. It will in time set in that position, and you can see that was just a little manoeuvre that I made. In order to balance the tree. It'll take a year or two for that to thicken up. Hopefully I'll return to that. But you can see the principle of what I've done. Like a lot of things that I do, it's an on the spur of the moment decision based on principles. And that's why a human being is generally better than a machine. Because you need to think it through, understand the principles, understand what you're trying to achieve, and get to know your trees. Anyhow, I better stop there, otherwise I'll go on too long. But it ain't half cold. Oh, and yeah, I will say this: I would hold your fire on grafting. If I can find the energy today, I'll dig up a tree, dig up a rootstock, take it home, and do a bench graft just as an experiment. But I've got some of my grafting pencils in the fridge, and they're going to stay there for another 3 weeks, in my opinion. I know some of you are so excited about doing your grafting, you want to do it straight away. It's your choice. My responsibility ended when the wood left me. I would wait until, if you graft now, you might get away with it, but if you can keep your wood cool and moist, not frozen, but cool and moist until you see new leaves growing.